new flavors, new textures, and I often implore the family to get on board. There are certain cuisines that, although not yet starry wonders, it's time to check them out. One such cuisine that I often go back to every now and then, though very, very stylish, is my Portuguese cuisine, and that cuisine has its roots embedded really deep in Goa. The flavors are sharp, pronounced, and so in tune with the family at home. One dish of that cuisine that I love going back to every now and then is the Ensopado De Borrego, or like I like to call it, a Portuguese mutton stew. This stew has the heat coming alive with some fresh red chilies, some smoked paprika, and a hint of sweet paprika as well. You pair this along with an anchovy glazed potatoes and you have a meal truly worthy that just enables you to mop it up with some pull-apart bread or some artisanal bread. Let's get to creating this starry wonder today. This stew is really simple. It's got just a few ingredients that come together in perfect harmony. To start off, we're going to use some extra virgin olive oil, so about 20 to 30 mils of it going into a cast iron pot. Just going to allow it to get nice and warm, and in the meantime we're going to infuse it with some fresh bay leaves. So here I've got 3 to 4 baby bay leaves, which I'm just going to roughly tear and throw them in. Just allow them to sizzle and sear. As we allow the bay leaves to infuse in the extra virgin olive oil, it's time now to marinate the meat. Marinating the meat is really very simple. I've got 1.5 kg of mutton. I'm using the shoulder meat, which is much more softer and flavorful. Into that you put about 1 tablespoon of smoked paprika powder. Just allow it to drizzle on top. You can go a little overboard, it's very, very simple. Along with that goes in about 1 tablespoon of sweet paprika powder. Some heat coming together with the sense of black pepper, so some freshly milled black pepper. You can go about 1/8 of a teaspoon. And we're going to infuse this entire thing with some celery sea salt. To this you add about 6 cloves of garlic, along with 1 tablespoon to 1.5 tablespoons of some refined flour. Now all this requires is a good tossing before we sear it in the olive oil. I like to just toss everything up so that it gets a light coating of the spices and the flour just drizzles over it and drenches it up. So a slight tossing, and now we're going to get to searing this. In goes the meat. Just going to let it sear. Don't be alarmed, I often cook with my hands. I love to feel the ingredients. This needs to be done on the highest possible flame so that the meat gets a quick sear, and any leftover spice blends just go drizzling on top. All you need to do is allow this to sear really well and keep stirring it every now and then for at least 4 to 5 minutes till the meat gets that crusty texture and the deep red color comes through well. As the mutton has got that deep red color, now it's the time to infuse it with about 4 slit fresh red chilies, 2 stalks of celery, 3 onions sliced, and just allow this to cook for another 4 to 5 minutes, mixing it continuously. As the onions begin to soften, it's time now to just cover this and cook it for 5 minutes till all the flavors absorb with each other and the steam just brings everything together. With the flavors infusing really well and the steam just bringing everything together, All this needs is a quick stir so that any scrapings at the bottom just add to the flavor. Now you want to infuse this with some technically white wine vinegar, but all I'm using is a Moscatel sweet wine vinegar just to bring everything together. So about nearly 100 mils of this going in, and we're going to ensure it infuses with the celery, the onions and the smoked paprika in this. A quick stir. The scents are so sharp and pronounced. The paprika just accentuates with the Moscatel white wine vinegar. And as you allow this to merge with each other, in goes 2 carrots roughly cut and a generous sprinkling of some parsley. I'm going to reserve some to garnish at the end, so about 2 tablespoons going in first and 2 tablespoons for later. Give all this a good tossing. Allow it to cook for another minute to a minute and a half before adding in some hot water. Finally, into this goes 800 mils of some hot water, just so that everything cooks, infuses and marries into each other. Now you allow this to come to a roaring boil and then simmer it for a good 45 minutes. You can leave it for another 15 minutes if you're like me who wants the meat to fall off the bone. As this has come to a roaring boil, all we're going to do now is cover this and lower the flame for the next 45 minutes, but I'm positively going to keep it for an hour just so that I get the desired results. The accompaniment to the Portuguese stew is this gorgeous potatoes with anchovies. So I'm going to drizzle the anchovy oil on it. I'm using a kg of russet potatoes. Just slightly fork up the anchovy fillets and put it on top. We will toss all this well together. 4 cloves of garlic finely minced, just to balance out that sharp anchovy goodness. I love it, some don't. So in goes a fine sprinkling of some celery salt as well. And this is the one thing that creates the perfect accompaniment to the Portuguese stew on the other side, simmering away, along with some freshly milled black pepper. Now you can get a little experimental by adding some finely chopped red chilies or just some red chili flakes or even some sweet paprika. While you put all this together, give all this a good tossing so that the anchovies merge with each other and they go straight on a baking tray. While I've used anchovies out here, you can always take a replacement by just using some salted cod. The flavors are more sharp. Give it a fine drizzle of some extra virgin olive oil on top, and this goes bang into a preheated oven at 180 degrees Celsius for just about 40 minutes. The anchovies and garlic just infuse with the potato and get absorbed into that rich goodness. Now while the potatoes have roasted perfectly well, they've got the anchovy goodness seeping right into them and the garlic just accentuates it. This is nearly ready. All I'm going to do is take it out and allow it to steep in this for another 4 to 5 minutes before it's ready to be enjoyed. I firmly believe the trick to this effective Portuguese mutton stew is the Moscatel sweet wine vinegar just marrying into the sweet paprika as well as the smoked paprika. With this cooking on the slowest possible simmer for a good 1 hour, the mutton is ready to fall off the bone. Pair this along with the artisanal bread and you have a decadent meal to enjoy. All this requires is that final garnish of flat leaf parsley on top. So about a tablespoon to a tablespoon and a half, and this gorgeous stew is ready. Simple flavors coming together yet again in perfect harmony with each other. Pair this along with the anchovy potatoes or go off the beaten track with a salted fish potatoes. And don't forget to have loads of artisanal bread on the side just to mop up this rich gravy. I hope you enjoyed creating yet another simple creation bursting with flavor. Don't forget to share loads of love by hitting on the like button, and as always, don't forget to subscribe.